Back on Reminisce. I'm sorry about the audio in last stream. Honestly, I don't know why I can't like turn down the volume. Like, music volume. I'll just turn it on here. Okay, so why the freak can I do 0.1? Like, 'cause it was just too loud before, y'all. Y'all know it was loud as fuck before. Whatever. I don't know what map we're finna play today, honestly. We got Kino to play, Pizzeria, 5, Overlook. I want to play something that's like, I don't know. Maybe I should just try playing, I'm gonna figure out Mob of the Dead. We're gonna try and figure out Mob of the Dead, and today we're also gonna watch the new Michael Verdict documentary too, like, or y'all are gonna listen to it with me because I love Michael Jackson. Who doesn't love Michael Jackson? Honestly, though, I'm gonna show water. Oh. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to. I don't know. I might get age restricted. It doesn't matter to me though. If I get age restricted or not. I don't know if y'all will be able to hear it, but hopefully y'all will.
He kept on doing it. He kept on saying that he wants to teach me. So that's what
At some point after the release of the Martin Bashir documentary, Michael Jackson had sexually abused Gavin. That's what Gavin told us, and we believed him. What I saw, I thought was a very typical interview of a child who had experienced sexual abuse.
Was there anything else where you had seen naked pictures or naked women before, both being with Michael? Yeah. What was that? He had a black suitcase. He said, and there's a black suitcase. And
hey, Sal, we must have been through this 50 times already. And we'll go through it another 50 if that's what it takes. 9:30, lights out. God begins his rounds. How we doing tonight, Ferguson? Family good?
Doing great, Mr. DeLuca. My boy Tommy, it's almost 6 now.
Ain't that swell?
Hey, Finn, get that tip for Saturday's race yet?
I'm working on it. Right now.
You gonna shut him up? Or do I gotta do it?
You know the rules, handsome. No talking.
9:35, the Weasel launches into a song and dance routine.
Damn it, Arlington. You gotta get this done. It's gonna be the real deal this time.
Once the Weasel gets the keys, we move on to stage 2. Let's get moving.
Here you go, fellas. Courtesy of the Warden's private collection.
Boys in the laundry stash the parts.
I killed him. You've been in the joint too long, Al.
I just realized I forgot to make this a private round. It's okay.
You should. I really am very proud of you. Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
I learned that both Star and Gavin had been shown pornography. Star told me that he had seen Michael put alcohol into soda cans, called it Jesus juice. Gavin told me that he had Jesus juice on planes. Gavin told me he had Jesus juice in Michael Jackson's room. When you're prosecuting a case involving a crime against a child, you rarely have witnesses to it. So we want to see if we can corroborate what Gavin had told us about what was going on in Neverland with Michael Jackson. And that included executing a search warrant on his property.
This is a Fox News alert. A search warrant has been issued and executed by the Santa Barbara County Police.
I have until 4
Investigators are swarming
to
Michael
figure this
Jackson's
out.
ranch in California, looking for evidence in what is being
Find the
called
warden's key,
an
get the
ongoing
plane
criminal
parts, build the plane on the
investigation.
roof, get the F off the island. Okay.
Okay, well, let's do our checks. You don't have a job until we secure this house.
We think that we have a good chance of being able to get a conviction on this case, then we should do it. We should not do it because he's a celebrity.
Search warrant.
Right now, Target Neverland is underway.
That's right.
As many as 60 investigators are inside at this point, searching the ranch.
To my left, you'll see the massive media from all over the world that's gathered here. It goes down about a quarter mile.
We had a very realistic understanding of what was going to happen, the constant presence of the press. It never crossed our mind that would be a reason that we wouldn't prosecute Michael Jackson. We knew what it would mean nationally and even internationally.
Those investigators are still on the scene. Somebody very close to this investigation says it does involve child molestation. I was at home. All of a sudden, there was a news flash. There was a raid at Neverland. I almost dropped to the floor. I knew, apparently, that this was the Arvizo family. How could they accuse Michael of molesting their child? I wholeheartedly believed in his innocence. I felt that it just didn't make logical sense that Michael would harm a child after the deposition and the family speaking so positively of him.
Right now, I feel
This way.
We want to see if we can corroborate what Gavin had told us, where the stairway is.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris. Sheriff Department. You want to know the lights turn on, Jeff?
Where the bed is. I knew that in Jackson's interview in the documentary by Martin Bashir, he was saying these kids, they want to stay in my bed.
When you say bed, it's sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual. We're going to sleep. I took them in. I put a little music on, a little story time. I read a book, give them hot milk. We got little cookies. It's very charming, very sweet.
We want to see if there was the briefcase that Gavin said existed in the bedroom that had all of the pornography in it. Yes, we found the briefcase. Yes, it was the same color. Yes, it had pornography in it.
Okay, but how y'all know somebody didn't plant that shit? I don't want to, see, listen, I don't want to protect him, but it's just like, yo, like you can't trust anybody in the industry for real. So it's like, I don't know who to trust. You can't trust the police. You can't trust what the people are saying. Michael isn't here to defend himself anymore. It's the fact that there's people dragging this shit on still. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is confusing as fuck.
Ongoing investigation, and tomorrow morning at about 11 o'clock, I will have a news conference with both the DA and the sheriff.
The basis for this investigation regarding Mr. Jackson involves allegations of child molestation, 288A of the California Penal Code. Additionally, an arrest warrant for Mr. Jackson has been issued on multiple counts of child molestation.
For years, pop star Michael Jackson has denied having inappropriate contact with children, and he has never been charged. But tonight, Jackson is wanted by police.
Jackson via flight arrest, including via flight arrest. There's always that potential, but we are actively pursuing the arrest warrant in this case. No, we do not. Yes, Diane, she knows everything about Michael Jackson.
I already had this history, this knowledge, this source base, and they were calling me these sources as often as I was calling them. Every hour I was finding out more and more things, and I get some real hard facts. I came to discover that Michael Jackson was not at Neverland, but somewhere in Las Vegas.
The 45-year-old's whereabouts are a mystery. Some say he's been at the Four Seasons. Others say up the strip at the Mirage, where he reportedly owns a villa. And still others say, no, he last stayed here at the Bellagio. Fact is, it seems nobody in this town knows where Michael Jackson last stayed, let alone where he is tonight.
We're outside Neverland, we're in Vegas, we've got people stationed everywhere. And it's a bit embarrassing that actually we don't know where he is right now.
Those of us who know Michael, we think, well, I think the world of him. And I just cannot fathom that this would be true.
At the time, Michael wasn't talking to nobody. He was hoping that the furor would go away. Mrs. Jackson had a theory about life. If you ducked and covered enough, the storm would pass you by. Michael practiced that very carefully.
I find out from a source he's holed up in this villa and he only opens the door wearing a colorful dashiki moo garment, only enough to get the food brought in, and then he slams the door. And he's having wild parties. There were couches and chairs. There were food containers everywhere. There were empty liquor bottles on every table. And this is where Michael Jackson had been for several days, entertaining young teenage boys who all spoke German. And he said after the raid, Michael Jackson was informed, oh my God, the cops are at Neverland again, and he left just like that.
Michael Jackson remains a wanted man.
Gang, bro, I'm stupid.
Jackson's spokesman says
Isn't a way to get that shit down?
to confront and prove that the charges are unfounded.
We have to go. The next thing I hear, Michael Jackson negotiates with the district attorney's office as to the surrender.
We were hearing that this aircraft may be connected with Michael Jackson's arrival because we're in it right now at LA's static.
He flew in a private jet into a hangar in Santa Barbara, and my sources were telling me he voluntarily flew there to surrender. They put the handcuffs on him and put him in a car. That car was also outfitted with audio.
Okay. Put the camera on, please. Okay. Is that okay for you, Mr. Jackson? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
They did not want any false reports of police brutality.
Ooh, Wonder Guy, okay. So this is the map that brought it into the game, I'm guessing.
Cars starting to pull into the Sallyport area.
Oh? How do we turn the power on, though?
is. It's going to either be a mystery.
There he is. It's Michael Jackson.
Right now,
He's in handcuffs.
I believe he's in handcuffs.
Mike, he's in handcuffs.
Throughout that 24-hour mystery about his whereabouts, Michael Jackson has now surrendered into police custody behind me. A crushing humiliation for one of the world's great entertainers. Right now, being read those charges of child molestation.
Minutes are ticking by. I'm still live on the air. I'm thinking, is he going to be booked, fingerprinted, mugshot? What happens next? And then it popped up in my monitor. And I was stunned. I'm live on the air, so I have to be careful what I say. I thought, number one, he looked so pale. It looked ghoulish. It looked like a deer in the headlights. I almost felt sorry for him. When I saw him with his hands cuffed and then that mugshot, I realized this is not just at the allegation stage anymore. Michael Jackson is now in the American criminal justice system. He's in the system. And the system was not going to let him go, and my sources were telling me there was going to be a criminal trial.
7 counts of lewd and lascivious acts against a child with the intent of arousing, appealing to, and gratifying the lust, passions, and sexual desires of Jackson and the child. And 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent, reportedly alcohol, with the intent of committing child molestation.
He's come back specifically to confront these charges head on. He is greatly outraged by the bringing of these charges. He considers this to be a big lie. He was enormously stressed. All of a sudden, there is a reality to what has been theoretical. I watched him just disintegrate, literally disintegrate. The ingestion of substances is just astronomical. There was a time when I actually saw him in the fetal position on the floor, and I thought, what do we do? I mean, you don't want his death to be on your hands, and because you took some inaction. It was a horrific time for him and for those around him. And we had genuine concerns as to whether he can even withstand the trial, physically, mentally.
Michael is hearing all of these hideous accusations on a day-to-day basis, and he's wanting people to step up and say that's not true, and to defend him more.
You know, it's not a pedophile, as some of these newscasters are saying. This is ridiculous. We have a lot of wicked people out there, and they know what they're doing.
Michael is saying, what is this obsession with me? Why am I a part? It seemed to me that there was a deliberate attempt to try to get him.
It is racism. It is. Catherine's not going to say it, but I will say it. It is racism.
When the charges were announced against Michael, of course, the family, they were heartsick. But for Michael's siblings, it was never about guilt or innocence for them. It was about legacy. They can't do this to us. They want to destroy what we built. What I kept hearing over and over again. We are the Jackson, as Randy Jackson would say. You know, we are royalty. We're the Black Kennedys.
My mother, my father, my sister, my brothers are overwhelmed by the outpouring of the support from the fans, both here in the United States and all around the world.
It was all about the brand. Michael Jackson, the brand. The Jacksons, the brand. We gotta protect the brand.
Thank you very much. That's all I gotta say.
I remember Jermaine calling me up and says, guess what? You know, Michael says when the trial is over, we're gonna go on tour again. And we got to realize that that's what this was really about, for at least for Jermaine. We gotta support him because he gotta come through this. He's gotta beat these charges so they can make more music and go out on tour.
He's innocent. And he knows that. We know that. And nothing knows that too. He's innocent.
Our response is, here we go again. Michael has 24-hour-a-day supervision with him for the specific purpose of protecting him against these kinds of claims.
Did he want to have children around him? Yes, he did.
No question about it. But to groom children for molestation, what? He was the Wicked Witch and Hansel and Gretel? How nonsensical. Michael Jackson was the biggest superstar in the history of the country and the world. Adults were getting into Michael's presence and they were all clear and it was impossible for him to function. But with children, and that's how he liked it. With children.
On the day of the ratings, I've never seen anything like it. Michael Jackson presents himself in court. Formal charges are read against him. I knew we were watching the potential demise of a superstar.
Take this garbage and then report it in tonight? You should be ashamed of yourself. We're gonna be here for
Standing next to Mike. Bob has been to him and he says, I know he's gonna do something crazy. I just know he's gonna do something crazy.
We're looking at a gobstone and I thought he was going to start moonwalking. I was immensely impressed with the physicality of the guy at the top of the SUV. It's the state of tradition. We say he's one of the greatest performers in demonstration. He can turn it on. He said, Brian, two guilty people leave court. I said they kind of are embarrassed and they hide. He said, yeah, they put their jacket over their head and they hide. How do innocent people leave the courthouse? They let the whole world see them. They stand tall. They stand proud. In his own inimitable way, Michael Jackson knew how to tell the world he was innocent.
I would not be surprised if somewhere down the road, some of the people surrounding Michael Jackson might have at least the threat of charges against them, aiding, abetting, allowing children in, knowing full well what the heck might happen.
So we were interested in talking to them to see if they could help us in so what was going on with these families and defending him.
And I wholeheartedly believe in his innocence. One of the reasons was because of my friend Frank. Michael was like a father to Frank. Frank was a young child, and he met Michael, and he moved in the ranks, and he became his personal assistant. Basically, anything Michael wanted, he would have to do.
Frank Harrison was thought to be one of Jackson's friends. They met when Mike was just 5 years old, and he admittedly slept in Jackson's bed.
I said, Frank, you're the closest person to Michael. I said, is this true?
Many other taking an indication of being interested in boys and sexual attraction to boys. It's the complete opposite.
He told me no. Michael would never do this with a child. I know Michael. Oh, never do this. And I said, Frank.
Dang, it is dark as.
Frank, we
out his house of anything that came from the Neverland Ranch. And he hands me a knife.
Kangaroo.
And I'm driving around, it's awfully suspicious. And I said, you take a look at this map.
Bro, this map is huge. Dude, no wonder why it was taking them so long to make this. This place is huge. I can't see. It's so dark. They fixed the plane.
I opened the bag.
Oh, they got all the parts for it. I don't know where they're at, though.
So I'm looking through it. And there was a Sharpie circles around the video ordering section. Someone's wanted these videos, circled the ones they want, these videos, which are children that are naked, some with families, understanding children. Frank, I said, Frank, what is this magazine? I said, because, circled my video of naked children. He says, that's something I went through. He circled the videos that he wanted, I ordered them, and it was a phase that we went through. They watched them together. When I heard that, I was in disbelief. I was very upset. My inclination was, after finding this, sitting there thinking about it, was that Frank is so close to Michael that he's covering up for him. That was a defining moment for me. That was the moment that took me so long where I realized that there's something going on here.
In the last few weeks, a large amount of ugly, malicious information has been released to the media. Allow a family to visit and spend some time at Neverland. Through the years, I have helped thousands of children who are ill or in distress. Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. Thank you.
The first day of the trial, I got up at 3 or 4 in the morning. This was a big day. This was one of my biggest days. And I know Michael's biggest days. He looked sharp. His makeup was done well. His attire was toned down for this trial proceeding, but he still was hot. We're recording. I wasn't a fan of videoing because that takes me away from what I'm supposed to do. But it was at Michael's request.
Can you zoom in on our side, Karen, and pull out?
Yes, sir. Zoomed as much as I could. Inside, I was concerned. I really was. Because they were going to be bringing the witnesses accusing him of these crazy things. If he was convicted of either one of those charges, he would be dead for the rest of his life.
Okay. More than 1 year after his arrest, Michael Jackson's high-profile child molestation trial has finally begun.
I watched it to what it looked like a circus. There were hugely intense everything.
My fucking god, dude, I might be fucked.
NBC, CBS, and you can see helicopters flying over. Every other person has a camera on their shoulder.
From Mexico, Televisión Azteca TV Azteca. It's a very big story in Japan. Some estimates as many as 1,000 Jackson fans all over the world here. There's even a U-Haul truck out front giving away free t-shirts that say, I support Michael Jackson.
It was a case of the century. This trial was about get American justice. It touches our race, it touches our rock, it touches our celebrity.
They've got the licensed cameras ready. All they need now is a
It's the action.
Oh shit! Bro, what the f- I killed him?
Then we left the freeway. The fans were just, they were chaotic. They were he wanted protection, but the most important thing to him was his fans. We had Trevor Steffen's gun that there was maybe as a fan that they were going to kill him. When you expose yourself to people that say they're going to kill you, that's when they can punish you. But it's not the fans. When he would see how he put himself, because they loved him, it was like a shot. We were escorted by police cars team. We made a turn on the main street. This router has controlled aids. So my job is in communication with my guys to look in, can we disembark and make sure all the high ground is covered, no snipers. When we get out of the car, we're so vulnerable. This is everything. You're in the open, and we can't cover everything. We don't have anything, but we're protecting us at the digital point.
When he walks into Court 8, he'll come face to face with his innocent Tom Ness, the district attorney leading the prosecution.
Tom and I worked very well together. We really felt that if we believed that he molested this child, and he did, then we have an obligation to pursue it. This was a case about a man who was one of the most recognizable people in the world. He was unique in his talent and skill and his accomplishment, and he was unique in his victimization of children.
On the other side of the court, Louis Thomas Mesereau. He's likely to say that the family have a history of making false claims.
Tom Mesereau is incredibly thorough, leaves no stone unturned, and I think the term shock and awe does indeed apply to this defense case.
I want you to remember who here. Tom Mesereau is the lead attorney. There's a local attorney here, and here's Brian Oxman. Now, he's been a Jackson family attorney for a long, long time, and he adores the Jackson family, every one of them.
I did Randy's divorce, I did Jermaine's divorce, I did Tito's divorce, I did LaToya's divorce, and I did Michael's divorce. I believe Michael was innocent from the very get-go. No way he had done these crimes. I just couldn't believe it.
Despite Michael Jackson's enormous fame, Michael Jackson, at the end of the day, was still a black man being charged by a white prosecutor and charged by a mostly white jury.
I was juror number 8. I grew up in Detroit, in the Motor City, and I remember watching the Jackson 5 cartoons on Saturday. That was like one of my favorite cartoons. And the voice, and the moves, he just was everything. I was juror number 6. My 23rd birthday was the day I was selected. I felt a little excited and a lot nervous. I didn't want to be responsible for sending somebody innocent to prison, and I didn't want to be responsible for letting a pedophile walk free.
The judge made the decision that despite the enormous interest of the media and the public, the cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom. When Judge Melville made the decision that there would be no cameras in the courtroom, I was thrilled. When the cameras were in the courtroom, what happens is people start trying to case cameras. Knocks at the judge, knocks at the jury. It begins to affect your decisions. Where you, I mean, prosecution and defense. It's just a human response knowing you're going to be on spectacles.
I sat very back against the wall, and Michael Jackson was real.
Michael was scared to death. We were beside ourselves.
We believe he was a criminal in a very profound way. And he was able to get away with it because he had the power of his fame and celebrity.
The defense said, no, Michael Jackson is a kind, wonderful man who loves children. It's all been misconstrued. And people who say these horrible things are just after the money.
It was our opinion that this family began to come up with these allegations only when they realized that they were on the way out. They needed to do something else to stay involved in his life and get a good payday, and this is what they came up with.
Based on opening statements in Michael Jackson's trial, the pop star is either a sexual predator, according to the prosecution, or the target of an elaborate extortion scam, according to the defense.
Tom Mesereau and the team said, let us do our job, and we can get you out of this. But that's easier said than done. I turned around.
This map is huge, gang. I'm sorry. I'm about to leave this one.
He said, what do you mean, how do you move?
Because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just running around. Actually, hold on. Let's play.
All you got to do is be you. Be there. We'll handle this.
Did I skip over it? I shouldn't have.
Witness number one, Martin Bashir.
Guys, what happened to Michael's?
Has sparked this entire criminal trial.
Guys, what happened to Michael's zombies?
Bashir, who made the controversial documentary Living with Michael Jackson, is expected to take the stand. The first prosecution witness to give evidence in this trial.
The anxiety levels are through the roof. I'm frightened by the rhetoric that's being written about the film and about me. I'm distressed about the way his legal team and his PR people are attacking the program. You know, we're petrified.
In the courtroom, he spots me and I spot him, and we went over and shook hands with each other. It was pretty clammy, that hand. So I knew that he was nervous. The prosecution played the Martin Bashir documentary in its entirety.
8 months ago, I put a proposal to Michael Jackson. Show me the real man, but show me everything. Make nothing off limits.
And I think the prosecution wanted to show the eccentricities of Michael Jackson.
Do you come out here on your own? Yeah. How often? All the time. You come out on your own? Yeah. The problem was, because there were so many clips of music, you could see that the jury kind of enjoying the film because it was fabulous and the music was the music of Michael Jackson.
I looked around and all the people in the courtroom and the jury and the judge and everybody's just like kind of bobbing their heads up and down.
They're literally swaying in their seats.
I remember me moving in time to his music.
Hmm.
Tom jabbed me and said, would you stop moving your foot?
Seeing him sitting there while they're playing his music was neat.
I thought, wow, they really love this guy.
Bitch, stop acting like you ain't like him too. Nigga, it's Michael Jackson. This nigga has generations of music, literally from his from being a little child, teenager, young man, grown ass man, all popular music that have been popular throughout the decades. They have not. This man is still being talked about to this day. You go to school, Literally, at my school, you can go to at my school. Walking around, I be walking around school, and I hear people still having debates on how popular and how big Michael Jackson is because it's Michael Jackson, bro. Come on. I don't like how this game is slow.
Hear that children from other families have come and they've stayed in your house, they've stayed in your bedroom. And they say, is that really appropriate for a grown man to be doing that? How do you respond to that?
I feel sorry for them because that's judging someone. Those films literally help people.
And after that, I was put into the response and question.
Tom Mesereau said you always went in thinking you were going to get a big scoop or make a big sensational splash, right? That was the tone of Tom Mesereau talking to Martin Bashir.
After the viewing, there followed tense exchanges between Bashir and Jackson's lawyer, Thomas Mesereau.
I think it was clear that Tom Mesereau wanted to smear Martin Bashir and his intentions from the get-go.
When you actually invite children into your bed, you never know what's going to happen.
When you say they think it's sexual, they make that sexual. It's not sexual.
What do you think people would say if I said, well, I've invited some of my daughter's friends round, my son's friends round, they're going to sleep in the bed with me tonight?
That's fine.
The TV journalist refused to answer most of the questions put to him. At one stage, Bashir told the court, I want to stand by the film and let it speak for itself.
I was briefed by our lawyer as to how to respond to the questions, and I was told to say, I'm not going to answer that question, and that was substantively what I said to every question that I was asked.
Martin Bashir was a disaster for the prosecution. He wouldn't even answer basic questions about the work he had done and what he did and why he did it, and that had to have looked very evasive, I think, to the jury.
Would I let my kids sleep with somebody that's famous like that and share a room with them? No. But I thought Martin Bashir was trying to trap Michael Jackson into saying something wrong to kind of make things out that weren't there.
My opinion was that Mr. Bashir was very cleverly and very maliciously manipulating him down a path of destruction. He made Michael Jackson think this was going to be a positive documentary, but it was the biggest mistake Michael Jackson ever made.
Sugar, I'm gonna die!
Michael Jackson simply couldn't contain his frustration after a day of relentless questioning with precious few answers.
Yeah.
This trial always promised drama, and it's delivering.
On the drive back to Neverland, he referred to Martin Bashir as another demon just trying to destroy him. It's like, this is what started it. He's all a part of this conspiracy. They're trying to kill me kind of thing. I'm not supposed to be really focusing on your conversation. I'm supposed to be doing my job, but I do hear it. And I'm thinking, well, this is the first guy. You wait till these other witnesses get up here with the kind of stuff that they're going to say.
There's a lot of people here that want to get tickets. We need your cooperation. If you do not cooperate and we can't do this in an orderly fashion, then we won't do it.
10, 9, I was at the courthouse no later than about 5:30 a.m. because I know around 6:30 a.m. they are drawing tickets to who could sit in the actual courtroom that day.
Everybody must have a picture ID before we start the lottery.
In January, I let my boss know that I would be resigning from my preschool teaching job, and I would be moving to Santa Maria for the Michael trial. And that's exactly what I did.
That's crazy.
A lot of people don't realize love is not with the word. It is an actual action.
as fans and advocates and people of love, soldiers of love. In your lowest point, here we are.
724, 674, 826.
Yes, thank God. The media had decided that Michael was guilty and that he was going to jail. That was their aim. So I knew the media wasn't going to cover it. Transcripts wasn't going to allow you to really find out exactly what was going on unless you were sitting in the courtroom and hearing it for yourself firsthand.
Jackson arrived at the courthouse. His parents and brother remained with him, while the brother of his accuser was coming in through another entrance.
It's the two brothers' testimony that's at the crux of the prosecution case. Gavin Diesel, the alleged victim, and his younger brother, Star, these are the two most critical witnesses of the entire trial, because that's what it's all about. Did he or did he not molest a child? The prosecution took Star through what happened at Neverland, and Star said, well, Michael Jackson took us aside and said, ask your parents if you can spend the night in my room. And they did, and the parents gave permission. And once in the bedroom, Star said they were
They
shown a
changed. They
laptop
didn't. It's still
computer
the same.
with many porn sites on it. Now, Star Arvizo, 14 years old, doesn't know the word grooming, but the prosecution made it clear these were the steps of grooming these boys.
You have to understand a little bit about the layout of Neverland. The house itself is an older Tudor-style home, and there's a separate entrance into the bedroom suite. There's a combination lock. The kids knew the combination to the combination lock. The mother didn't.
Bro, please don't tell me he's actually like Bebe. Find the parts for the power box. Jesus. Fine. He's guilty, bro. They're making it seem like he's actually guilty.
The painting was a depiction of the Last Supper. But the Christ figure in the middle was not Christ. It was Michael Jackson.
Star said once in the bedroom, the pornography was brought out. Jackson always said, don't tell anybody. When you feel like you're in the company of someone otherworldly, almost, and they tell you to keep the secret, you keep the secret. From the master bathroom, 3 books of nudes in a plastic bag, a couples magazine, a book of nude photos of men, and from the den and a second-floor closet, a book of nudes called Naked as a Jaybird, and several porno magazines in a black briefcase.
There was one particular publication that I thought was noteworthy, and it's a publication that was titled Barely Legal. And it depicted nude, young-looking women. They looked like the girls these boys would go to school with. And if this was designed to groom children, and it was, then it would be effective in sexualizing children by showing them what they would find to be intriguing. Star testified that he was walking up the stairs in the bedroom and was able to see Michael Jackson doing something that was suspicious.
I didn't buy.
Either asleep or possibly unconscious.
It was bombshell. I mean, pornography, liquor, acts of molestation.
This witness is huge. If the defense cannot shake up this witness or have him recant,
I don't like Michael's zombies anymore, guys. I don't really like it.
Talk about devastating testimony from a child. What do you do with that when a child says that? Very plainly, very clear, that's what his testimony was. What do you do?
California, defense attorneys in the Michael Jackson molestation trial will try to discredit a key witness later today.
Kevin's house, Overlook, Power Station. I don't know these places.
When the prosecution was questioning him, Starr did a really good job describing all the pornography that they saw on the computer and in the magazines. On cross-examination, Tom Mesereau pointed to one of the exhibits, a copy of Barely Legal. And he said, "Is this the one you saw?" And Starr said, "Yes, that's the one Michael Jackson showed him."
He continued to ask him, "Is this the magazine that Michael showed you?" He got him to say point blank, "Yes, it is the magazine." Then he uncovered the date, and that magazine was at a date where they had long past left Neverland.
Look at the magazine on top, says Mesereau. It's dated August 2003, long after your family left Neverland for good.
It seems it couldn't have been the actual magazine, but I think more important were the inconsistencies about exactly what he saw. On different occasions, he described what he saw quite differently, and Tom Mesereau pointed that out.
There was apparently an alarm or a chime that would sound when you would enter the doorway of Michael's bedroom. So the question is, didn't that go off?
Starr goes up those stairs, but in order to get to those stairs, you have to go through a door. The door has bells. And then you're going up the stairs, you have more. Don't you think Michael Jackson would have heard that and stopped what he was doing and rolled over and pretending he was asleep? Everyone in the courtrooms were just like, "Oh my goodness," that just totally show how much you're lying and you're willing to just keep lying even though somebody is asking you over and over again. I remember Tom Mesereau calling Michael to the side, just right there in the courtroom, and we could see them just chatting a little bit. And then Tom Mesereau came back and said, "This, beyond a shadow of a doubt, had proven Michael innocent." He was a total master of his game, Tom Mesereau.
Michael, I can feel hearing those allegations from you guys.
I'm sorry, I'm going to get in order. Hearing some of the things the prosecution said really got to me. But in this country, that you're innocent until they're proven guilty. So the prosecution had to prove to me that he did this.
My sources are telling me that after this young boy testifies, his brother, the accuser, will be on the stand. I mean, this is what the case is all about. It comes down to what this boy says occurred to him.
Gavin Arvizo is now 15. It's his story that will make or break this case, and he will have his day in court.
In 2 and 3, I get a call from Michael, and he told me, "Terry, come up to my room. I need help." He said, I fell and hurt myself. I noticed that he had a cut on his face. His shirt was disheveled, and he had on some jeans. Like, what happened? He told me he slipped in the shower. I said, "Okay, well, let's go to the hospital." So I took him to the hospital. They injected him with something, a sedative or whatever. But Michael would just keep talking, saying that he was in pain and he couldn't sleep. I went home and said, "Mr. Jackson would like some more pain medication. It's not working." They came in and they gave him something else. 5 minutes later, he's still not going to sleep. It's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Hey, go tell him I need something else. It's not working." So I go tell him he needs something else. And the doctor comes in and says, "I can't give him nothing else. I've given him enough to tranquilize and help him."
His accuser once called Jackson the coolest guy in the world. Today, the 15-year-old will be on the stand face-to-face with a world-renowned pop star.
Well, the jury believed the story told by the young teenager who was accusing Jackson of molesting him. It's that simple. If they don't believe, Jackson walks. If they do believe, he goes to jail.
This is the first full day of testimony of Gavin Arvizo. We all be like we're supposed to, and there's no Michael Jackson.
Turns out the self-proclaimed king of pop is in the town of Solvang at a small 22-bed hospital seeking treatment for a, quote, serious back problem.
He's still in a lot of pain. And I eventually asked the doctor, I said, will you call the judge? Because now somebody should be in. That's how late it had gotten.
Tom Mesereau stood up and he said to the judge, well, Your Honor, he's at the hospital, and the judge didn't hesitate. He said, there's a warrant for his arrest in 1 hour if he isn't here. You get him here right now, the bond will be revoked, and I will put him under arrest. It's the only time I ever saw Tom Mesereau flustered.
What he told me was virtually impossible. I got to go back to Neverland and then drive, 45 minutes to Santa Maria Court. And I'm like, this is a setup. But I just said, we got to go, Michael.
With a national audience watching and his very freedom to lie,
Okay.
Jackson must hurry. It's a 37-mile journey, a 45-minute drive in the best of circumstances, as the Jackson entourage speeds down the 101, exceeding 90 miles an hour. Jackson's attorney nervously paces outside. He constantly checks his cell phone. 8:49, 9:09, 9:14, 9:20, 9:29. It's clear to all who are watching the clock, it's going to be close.
Michael was terrified, upset, beside himself. He thought that his whole life was evaporating.
Can you imagine? You're quiet, not showing up, and there's Mesereau on barbecue, taking the heat.
An hour went by, and there's no Michael Jackson. And then, suddenly, we were told that 2 reporters, a print person and a television person, could go out and watch the arrival. And I was one of them.
We show up to court, and I'm looking at Mesereau, and he's got like, what the heck? What is this?
It has to be the most shambolic public appearance Michael Jackson has ever made. The usually immaculately groomed star shuffled into court in pajamas and slippers. He was disorientated, dishevelled, and over an hour late.
He was almost being carried by his assistants, as if he's the most feeble person in the world, right? All the show.
Michael played the victim better than anybody I've ever seen. It was time to distract from Gavin's testimony, but also to say, see, I'm the victim here. I'm injured. They're dragging me into court in my pajamas. I'm the victim. So I just think it was master manipulation.
You're gay.
I remember saying, good morning, Mr. Jackson. How are you feeling? No answer. Are you on pain medication, Mr. Jackson? Nothing. And he went into the court and, like a zombie, walked down the aisle very slowly.
Dude, this guy just starts 20,000 points. Who is this guy?
So there was a big sort of build-up to the moment.
Yeah, he can go ahead and treat me, though.
Finally be on the stand.
Oh shit.
I had never met Gavin. We just knew it had to be bad because we're here.
Okay, now it's time to get the fuck out of here.
There in person. The thing that struck me was, he's just a kid.
What we saw, I thought, was a child who had experienced sexual abuse. But you also saw a child who presented as very intelligent and very honest. I was hoping that a jury would want to see that.
This is my notebook from the court, and it says the boy looks frequently at Michael Jackson with a steely gaze. The boy described how Jackson asked him, "Do you masturbate?" And he said, "I felt uncomfortable with this conversation." During the encounter, he was masturbated by Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson comforted him after the act.
At a minimum, what the prosecutor wants from Gavin's testimony are the following. Did Michael Jackson spend time with him? At a minimum, what the prosecutor wants from Gavin's testimony are the following. Did Michael Jackson spend time with him intimately and molest him? The answer to that was yes. The prosecutor got Gavin Urvizo to acknowledge that in witness stand. He said that Michael Jackson molested him twice at the Neverland Ranch. They also got the fact that Michael Jackson gave him what he says Michael Jackson called Jesus juice. That was alcohol. That was important because part of the prosecution's narrative, part of the allegation, is that Michael Jackson used alcohol to dull the senses, to remove the inhibitions of Gavin.
This is a pretty compelling witness, this young man, and he was extremely detailed about all the things that happened. There were love notes that Michael Jackson gave to him. They were in bed together constantly. They slept together many, many nights together, and also with the brothers. So
Just ruined the whole thing, bro. Now I have to go turn on the power. I barely even remember where the power is at.
Kid, he held himself very well. I tried to be open. And
I don't remember where the power is at. I lied.
This kid that possibly was molested. He was asked, "Do you miss being his friend?" And Gavin goes, "Yes, I do." That kind of tore my heart because looking at Gavin, and I knew he was sincere about that.
I would just remember.
What the fuck? Bro!
And he was just like devastated by this kid's testimony.
After the trial started, I would go over there and visit the Arvizos. They were pretty secluded. The kids were not in school. They had maybe a 6-month period where they really didn't leave their house at all. They were being
No, bro. Why is he always texting my phone, bro? Every day this guy's texting my phone.
Savory elements that were potentially dangerous. So I would just go over.
Should be no reason you're texting my phone every fucking day, gang. If it's not about my fucking money or the shit that you literally owe me, bro, I don't want you texting my phone.
A lot of it had to do with him believing that he would have no life after this. Those were the words he used.
You are not affiliated with Michael Jackson or his people. Okay? We are law enforcement officers.
Gavin was a very sparkly, outgoing, mischievous, twinkly individual with a smile for everyone. And his personality dramatically changed, not by cancer in a year of aggressive chemotherapy, but by his time with Michael Jackson. I just saw it in his demeanor.
The defense then takes over cross-examination on Gavin Urvizo. And I made a note here in my notes that Mr. Mezzaro started off by calling him Mr. Urvizo. And Gavin shot back, "Yes, Mr. Mezzaro." And I wrote down, "Oh boy,
Mezzaro was privileged speaking with Gavin. For the first half hour, you could hear him down the street. He was screaming so loudly at him. It was a vicious cross-examination.
Tom Mezzaro came in like gangbusters and started to try to rip up this boy's story, and he's very good at that. Now, this boy was feisty and talked back to the point that the judge warned both of them not to argue with each other.
When Tom Mezzaro started to question him on cross-examination, Gavin changed. He got flustered, he got confused, he got angry at points, and it didn't work in his favor.
Dealing with a child who's already scared to death and who's already mortified at the thought of they're being accused of being a manipulator by this prominent attorney standing in front of them, screaming at them in front of a room full of people because
oh my God, bro.
about whether they're
Of course he comes right around the corner. Like,
question each of us would ever want to answer in a public setting or even a private setting. Then you understand how harrowing that can be for a child. And for jurors who don't understand the phenomenon, all they see is a misbehaving child.
The prosecutor can control a lot of things. They can't control is the passage of time. When they initially interviewed Gavin, years earlier, he was a prepubescent boy. But now it's different. He's now pubescent. He's now more combative. He's got all the energy, the fire, the hormones of a teenager. Some of this appeared to come out of nowhere. And I don't think that he came across as the kind of credible witness that you would have expected your star witness through the prosecutor.
On his direct examination, Gavin talked about how Michael Jackson told him he must masturbate because otherwise he'll grow up to be a man that rapes women. That's a pretty stunning thing to tell a child. But that's what he testified to. On cross-examination, Tom Mesereau said, wait a minute, there's this statement, Gavin, that you made to the sheriff's department a while back, and you said your grandmother told you exactly the same thing. So who was it? Was it your grandmother, or was it Michael Jackson? Were you lying then, or were you lying? These are the types of traps that Mesereau got these children in.
Gavin Arvizo indicated very clearly that Michael Jackson had molested him and touched on him appropriately. But at the same time, he admitted that he still admired Michael Jackson. He still wanted to hang out at Neverland Ranch. He wanted to go back to Neverland Ranch.
Gavin Arvizo was angry with Michael Jackson because he wanted them out of his life. I never believed he was angry at him because he was molested.
No more magic. No more flying on airplanes. No more staying on the Olympics. I've been thrown over the...
As a kid, I wanted to make sure that I listened to what he was saying. But then when Mr. Mesereau gets up and then he puts it all in order, it's like, definitely that does make more sense.
Tom Mesereau brought out the inconsistencies. He walked Gavin through the evidence. He pulled the thread of those inconsistencies until the garment fully came apart. If there's any doubt, now that Gavin is left to stand, that the defense is ahead. In fact, the star witness for the prosecutor now appears to be the star witness for the defense.
Are you afraid right now?
We put him in the car, and it was kind of silent. And then you hear him beating on this. Like, how could you do that to a person? How could you do that? Meaning, how could Gavin accuse him of these egregious acts?
Despite the fact that the prosecution's case was so weak, we were all humbled by this testimony in which that Michael had created for himself that he'd been working on since he was 8 years old was just shattered.
There was a lot being said among the press corps about, well, the Arvizos were really discredited. This case is over. Dismal as it looked for the prosecution at that point. What most people didn't know was they had some real cards up their sleeves still to play.
Why would a man who has children, who has a job, who
Why did I
does
do
well
that?
in his community, all of a sudden decides to molest a child?
I was doing
It
so
just doesn't
good.
make sense.
Why did I do
You've
that?
got other kids who come forward and say, oh no, he did it to me too. Now you have somebody who clearly has a propensity for doing it. And so if we can get other kids to come in or adults who were abused as children and say, yep, he did it to me, it's overwhelming evidence.
The defense in the Michael Jackson trial suffered a big setback today. The judge said he will allow the prosecution to present evidence that Jackson has been accused of molesting children before. and that he paid to settle 2 of the cases.
The allowance of prior bad acts by the judge landed like a thud, like a lead balloon, just in your stomach. It made the prosecution feel we can get him.
In a clear victory for DA Tom Smith, the judge ruled that under California law, jurors could hear about old, unproven molestation allegations involving 5 boys.
It's one thing to say that one family is out to get Michael Jackson. Now they have to come into court and say that many families are. They all have the same story, and they're all in it for money. And that's a tough sell with the jury.
Now, this looked like a serial predator. These people were bringing him down.
This is now a trial about pattern evidence, about propensity, and once a pedophile, always a pedophile.
Mr. Jackson, I'm back here after the lunch break. Did anything occur on the lunch break that would affect your ability to recall or recount information?
No.
Are you familiar with a person named Jordan Chandler?
We're not going to get into who he knows and doesn't know. If I ask a question, what did I ask about? I believe it's John's flip of his cover from Maxine.
Michael Jackson is sitting there smiling. Of course he knows Jordy Chandler.
Is it your position that you will instruct Mr. Jackson not to answer any questions that pertain to the issue of Jordy Chandler in any way?
Yes, Jackson. The Chandler case took place about 10 years prior to the case involving Gavin. I wanted the jury to understand that this guy's done this before. I wanted to bring in that evidence to show that he has a propensity to commit sex crimes. It could change the outcome of this case.
Jackson jury to hear past trial sex crimes.
This is a critical ruling.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
It's very compelling evidence, and every time I have done that on the Joplin case, I've won. This fantasy island that he created was a huge piece of property with multitudes of staff. I believe some of the cleaning staff, the senior staff, the secretaries, the security people knew what was going on. I am convinced some of them complicit. How could they not have known? They knew when to stay away and where to stay away. They understood that, as long as you work here, don't dare ever think about even mentioning what goes on here to anybody. There will be hell to pay if you do. We wanted the jury to know what they saw.
The Michael Jackson trial is back in session today. Jurors continue to hear testimony about past molestation allegations against the self-proclaimed killer. Former employees were going to come to testify that for years, Michael Jackson lured young boys to Neverland and sexually molested them. It could be a real game changer.
Each day we're going to hear disturbing details of what people claim that they saw.
Michael Jackson knew what they had seen. I had interviewed former employees of his. They'd all talked about misbehavior between Michael and young boys.
None of them came forward until we got them to. And where you have to answer questions.
I'll just read out of my notebook.
Bro, the stamina sucks in this game, bro. Every single time.
This patrol by the shower area, by the swimming pool. There was Michael and Jordy Chandler, both naked. I saw that Mr. Jackson was correct.
Open the door, bro! I'm fucking mad. Holy shit.
Blanca Francia, a former maid,
Holy shit, I'm about to get
Finding
mad.
Wade Robson in the shower with Michael
Move.
Jackson.
Move, gang,
Testimony
move.
just keeps on coming. Another ex-employee took the stand.
A former chef
Fuck
from
is the
Neverland
power?
named Philip Lamarck. He testifies that Michael Jackson was playing the Thriller video game with the movie star Macaulay Culkin. And Michael Jackson's left hand was inside the pants of the kid. Question: why didn't you go to the police? Quote: no one would have believed me.
There wasn't a one of them who was able to say that Michael Jackson, to their knowledge, ever had an adult guest in his room overnight. Not even a wife. He was married twice. It was only adolescent boys who stayed in his room.
Many members of the press started to say this is a bigger subject than we thought than just the Arvizo family. One of the witnesses: there was a Home Alone kid, Macaulay Culkin, Wade Robson, Brett Barnes, and Jordan Chandler.
It was like this pattern of prepubescent boys. It's almost like a conveyor belt. They come in young, they get old, they get off the other side.
Sam, bring me up to date, Fred.
5 other children who Jackson allegedly groomed and inappropriately touched could very well.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Open the Nutella. I need some
It
Nutella.
did make me kind of stop and think, wow, what if they're the same thing that's been going on with Gavin? You know, the same MO.
5 boys, but only one of them is going to testify, correct?
Yo, that's the girl who caught the guy with his son hidden in his basement.
We were down to one. Blanca Francia was one of the names. She had a son, adolescent son named Jason, now an adult who was cooperative, and he did testify for us.
You know, when he first walked in, I noticed that Michael Jackson looked at him and then snap his head around, and he just looked forward. Jason Francia, youth pastor, then about 8, 9, 10 years old. 3 times he said he was abused by Michael Jackson. Question: did his hands make contact with your genitalia? Yes, over the clothes. How long was his hand there? 2 cartoons worth. Well, it was very moving. I had interviewed his mother about these incidents back in 1993. And here, years later, her son is telling me exactly the same thing. It really got to me. His testimony really got to me.
This is getting to me.
There's witness after witness that say,
I mean, you can't like nobody, bro.
Practice of molesting
Everybody just weird as hell,
the jury's
gang.
going to look to that, and they're going to have a difficult time saying that Jackson is not a pedophile in this case.
The prosecution, they said, we got him. We have a serial pedophile. Well, what a bunch of junk that was. The people who testified, Francia, Chacon, McManus, Lamarck, former employees who were angry. They had an axe to grind. And we were going to prove it.
Jackson's lead attorney, Tom Mesereau, counterattacked ferociously.
The defense skillfully took each one of these witnesses and put them in one box. There's the box of grifters.
Some of these people were paid money by the media for their stories.
The housekeeper reportedly sold her story to hard copy for $20,000. He had some on every single one of them. You got $20,000. The fact of the matter is, back in the 90s, tabloid television paid people. I mean, everybody knows that. Now they're having their reputation battered in court. He was masterful. I mean, he used facts and a tone of voice that made the jury think, oh boy, these people can't be believed.
Yeah, you know, in my opinion, money hungry. People wanted Michael Jackson's money, no matter how.
Mind you, he didn't have it for real because
effectively. They put on witnesses who were lacking in credibility.
Every one of these prosecution witnesses has their own little axe to grind to some degree.
This is just Mesereau throwing more dirt. We've had 10 people testify.
I'm pretty sure this too.
And he says they're all crooks and liars. You have to buy that all these 10 people are willing to risk perjury, defamation.
But they made a pretty strong case.
All about credibility and not about physical evidence. All of this is hanging in the air for the jury to consider.
I think the prosecution needs to pull something really big out of the bag.
As terrible as it looked at that point for the prosecution, what they did next, I thought, was brilliant. What better person to bring to the stand than the mother of Jordy Chandler, the little boy who got millions and millions of dollars to shut up? And so June Chandler came to the stand.
When we discovered that June Chandler was going to take the stand, there was pandemonium, okay? It came back to haunt us.
To understand how significant it was for the mother of Jordy Chandler to take the stand, you have to go back 10 years earlier with this notebook right here. Book number 1 of my notes on Michael Jackson. This is the original story that we broke back in 1993.
America is in shock tonight over the scandal surrounding pop star Michael Jackson.
Barry, I don't want to overstate anything. I try to be a careful reporter, but we could very well be watching the downfall of a superstar.
Sources in Los Angeles say a 13-year-old boy's claim of sexual abuse led to the criminal probe of Michael Jackson.
But it's the LAPD's sexually exploited child unit of their juvenile division that is handling this case.
When we first interviewed the victim, it was at his father's home. His parents were divorced. The allegations were he had a sexual relationship with Michael Jackson. The victim became very detailed. One of the allegations was that they would shower together. He drew specific details of Mr. Jackson's body. He drew a picture of Mr. Jackson's private part, and specifically his penis, stating that Mr. Jackson had markings on his penis.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Gang. I do not know how I feel about this documentary. It's 2:05, gang. That's so fucking irritating. Alright. This might be my last attempt. This will be my last attempt. I'm not listening to that shit no more because I don't know how to feel.
Major systems offline.
Play some music. That shit just threw me off. Oh shit. It's getting real. It's getting real, it's getting real, it's getting real, it's getting real. No! I think, let's do this, gang. Let's do this. We got this, gang. We got this.
Offline.
All right, we got gang with us.
Level 3 laboratories. Power restored. We are now at DEFCON 1.
Am I slow? Where is the lever at? Oh, is it right here? This was the lever the whole time. I was missing the lever. You know where we about to go. You know where we about to go, gang.
Level 2 war room.
Crack that cold one, gang. Yo, I love me a guy who knows what he's doing.
We are now at DEFCON 3.
Come on.
Level 1 main floor.
Damn it, bro. Oh my god. As soon as I get it. Now I look like an idiot, bro. He might be fucked. Dude, just get out of here. Just go, 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 go. I understand. I understand, gang. Don't worry. You do not have to get me, gang. I promise you, you don't have to get me. I don't know if you can hear me, gang, but that was my fault. If I go down, just let me die, for real. Just let me die and try and finish out the round.
Power level critical. Major systems offline. Level 2 War Room. Level 3 Laboratories. Power restored. We are now at Defcon 1. Security lockdown. Level 2 War Room. We are now at Defcon 2. We are now at Defcon 3.
Hello? 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 Oh my god.
Warning. Breach detected on level 3. Initiate security protocol 115. Attention. Containment failure. System monitoring will remain on alert status.
Oh, he left. Dang. Well, that's my cue.